And another thing, to be perfectly frank, I'm just tired. I'm tired of the liars. I'm tired of all of these YouTube streamers and social media video makers giving half-ass reports just for the clicks, just for the views. I mean, now I understand monetization. I understand why they doing it, but it's just getting on my goddamn nerves. Yeah, excuse me for cursing, but I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of, they get online. Oh, this African country is giving citizenship. No, they ain't. This African country is giving free land. No, they ain't. It's like come here and you can buy a 5-bedroom mansion for under $100,000. No, you can't. They just all lying. And I guess it bothers me because I specifically have the goal of moving. And so I'm doing my research. And I'm like, wait a minute. First you said Ghana was giving citizenship. Ghana not giving citizenship. Now Ghana has a citizenship program. And don't get me wrong, because I'm not saying this. I don't want none of them god daggone hating type people talk about, well, you shouldn't be trying to go anyhow because our ancestors built this. Fuck y'all. Like, excuse my language again. See, y'all, I be digressing. Let me try not to digress. What I'm saying is, I do the research. Ghana does have a citizenship program. They have 2 or 3 different levels or tiers or types or styles of citizenship programs. But they ain't just giving it to you. The only way you just get it is if you luck up or you link up with certain people who got an in with government offices. Now that's great. I ain't down in that because that's the rule of the law everywhere. I don't care what country you live in, born in, move to, think about. Every country has rules for everybody and rules for the insiders. So again, don't come at me like, well, it shouldn't be like that way. Okay. Now, once you leave your fairy tale land and you come back to reality, like I said, you get stuff when you know stuff. You get things when you know people. That's here in America. That's in France. That's in the UK. That's everywhere. So I'm not mad at that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these people who make these half-ass claims. Don't just be out here telling folk, oh, you could go to this country and they're going to give you land and they're going to give you citizenship and you can buy a house and it's so much cheaper. It's not that much cheaper. It's not that much cheaper, especially if you're trying to build from scratch. Or let me take that back. There are definitely ways and means to make it much cheaper. So let me take that back. Because the current going rate nowadays, you paying $400,000-$500,000 for an average house in America. So yes, it is much cheaper. But you still gotta have that bread. Don't think you're gonna go over there off of a video. Like I see these videos. Look what $50,000 can get you. Would y'all like at the very least? And again, I get it. Because you're keeping them up there for the views, for the clicks, for the monetization. But if your video was 10 years ago, just because it still looks spectacular today, and maybe that's not on the YouTuber, maybe that's not on the social media, maybe that really is on the viewer. So I'm guilty. I'm guilty of not truly investing time in looking up every nook and cranny. I do my research. So when I find out about a particular country, a particular city that may have some advantages and benefits, I do some research. Now, some of this I learned over time because I began to realize, wait a minute, that person, that man, that woman in the video, oh, let me look. When was this video published? This shit came from before COVID. So you got to look for this kind of stuff. So in that respect, like I'm just giving, okay, this is just my FYI, in addition to it being, me venting. Yes, I'm venting. I'm venting because these are the thoughts that come to me when I'm on my outside morning walks. So this is today's morning music. If you find what I'm saying interesting, if you find what I'm saying hilarious, if you look down on me, because I'm confessing my own personal idiocy, say something in the comments. We can duke it out on the battlefield of my comment section. That's fine. Yes, I'm guilty too. I want to monetize my channel, and I would like to keep at least most of my videos up, even if they are old. So yes, I'm guilty of it. Does that make me a hypocrite? Well, if it does, then excuse me for being human, because we all find ourselves hanging from the tree of hypocrisy every now and then on one thing or another. But again, like I said, I at least would appreciate folk when they give information. Like, and here's what really got me started. Because even today, a friend of mine sent me a video about Burkina Faso, so-called, quote unquote, canceling their citizenship program for descendants, for the diaspora who are descendants of the slave trade. And I'm like, oh, well, this is disappointing. And then I go looking, and I look and see another person has made a video about not no more. And then I look and I see another person has made a video about not no more. And so I get it. There's a bandwagon for everything. But then I go to Google and I research and I look up, where's the news article about this? Oh, there ain't none. Where is the government of Burkina Faso's proclamation that they're shutting it down, or they've changed their mind, or they're reconsidering, or it no longer exists, or anything of that nature? There's nothing. So the government hasn't produced anything. Where are these people getting it? Now, I know there's always times when people who have an inside ear, they can get some information before it actually comes out. So I'm not saying one way or the other. Clearly, I am not in a position of privilege where I can brag, boast, or even just dwell in the notion of, I know it before you do. But I've looked and I see nothing of official nature. And so I said, okay, well, maybe I'm just not looking good enough. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Let me mosey on over to ChatGPT. Let me mosey on over to Perplexity or whatever, let me look in the AI space. And I asked the AI space, find me anything of official status that verifies or invalidates all of these YouTubers and Facebookers who are saying Burkina Faso has shut down their citizenship program. And AI after AI after AI does its own little thing. Now, if you don't believe in AI, okay, hey, look, then we ain't got nothing to talk about. But I went to like 3 different AI platforms. They all said, I can't find nothing, bro. Not here, not here, not here. They all said, we can find the YouTuber. We can find the Facebooker. Yeah, and I'm saying Facebooker and YouTuber. So what? But they all verified that it is a topic of hot conversation in social media. None of them could find any evidence of a journalistic news reporting agency, association, writer who's weighing in, who's reporting it. So again, I'm like, so here we go with more mumbo jumbo. Just like there was First, there was a wave of everybody needs to go to Ghana. Then it was a wave of everybody needs to leave Ghana. Then it was a wave of everybody needs to go to such and such. And then there was a wave of everybody needs to leave such and such. Like, again, I understand the need for clicks and views. Because you're getting your channel monetized, or your channel is monetized, and you want them checks. I get it. But I just wish there was a way folk could go about this business with a little bit more integrity. Now, I will say I did find one YouTuber who handled this particular specific situation with a whole lot more integrity, a whole lot more sobriety. Because everybody else was just getting online. Well, we can't go there, folks. Sorry, family. Burkina Faso just slammed the door on us. They ain't even giving no indication. I just heard. I just found out. You found out from who? You heard from who? But there was one person on YouTube who did say their whole video was like, listen, I'm hearing some rumors. Let me tell you where I heard the rumors from. And she tells you where she heard the rumors from. She tells you, I have found no evidence of this being an accurate or an actual proclamation, but there are a lot of people talking about it. So it may be coming down the pipe. And that's cool. That's at least that's how you should cover a story. That's how you should hold a conversation. You don't just start spazzing off at the mouth and then show no receipts. Now, in her video, she discusses, her sources. She discusses the receipts. So again, so I can appreciate that. Now, if you are so curious as to, well, who's he talking about now? Who's the one that did it right? Feel free to mosey on over there. Her name is Ivy Prosper. That's IvyProsper. That's the name of that. That's her name on the channel. Now, I can't remember the exact channel, so I'm sorry about that. But feel free to mosey on over there and check out her video, because she handles it at least in a much more respectable, manageable, appropriate, truly information-oriented manner. But again, this is me spazzing off because I'm tired of people giving false information. A lot of times, especially in diaspora circles, this ain't for the folk that don't want to go nowhere. This is for the folk that's trying to leave. And I'm tired of people just giving half-hearted, half-assed information drops that don't really do nobody any good except them on their channel for monetization purposes. That's just as bad as orangutan delivering false fake news all the time. I saw him just like, again, we gotta stop, because here's the thing. You get a person, you get your audience, you get people all stoked up, excited, and they just run with the information you gave them. They running out here. And this is terrible. This is a shame, but they running out here selling off all their goods, selling off all their items and possessions. And they jumping on a plane. They paid for the plane ticket. They flying over to Africa, whichever country they were inspired to go to. And they getting over there thinking all I got to do is I'm going up to the office. I'm going to tell them I'm here. So I'm here for my African return plan. And then they finding out there ain't no African return plan. The government didn't say we're going to give you free land. YouTube said they going to give you free land. The government didn't say we're going to have that brand new passport waiting for you when you get off the plane. YouTube said that. Or YouTube made you think that's what it was about. And that's the thing. It's like, people yes. Now, so just like I'm saying, people need to be more responsible when they're delivering these messages on YouTube or Facebook or TikTok or what have you. At the same time, I ain't just bombing on them. At the same time, we, the people, we in the audience, we, the viewership, we got to be a little bit more wise. Now, my heart goes out. I feel for anybody who got caught up in this sensationalism trap, and then they find themselves over in another country. It don't matter what country. There's folks running off to Thailand only to find out Thailand didn't say we wanted you. There's folks running off to the Philippines only to find out the Philippines didn't say we wanted you. The YouTubers said they wanted you. But so just as irresponsible as the YouTube, as the influencer, the social media channel, that whatever it is that you happen to be, in love with, enraptured with, just as they need to be more responsible and they need to have better sense of integrity, the viewers, we the people, we need to be more suspicious. We need to be more investigative. We need to be practicing a greater sense of wisdom. Don't just run off because you've seen it on social media. And that's for anything. I mean, I'm particularly spazzing out this morning because of these diaspora spaces that just keep getting it wrong about going to Africa. But like I said, it's the same thing as when folk get it wrong about whatever's in the news cycle in your own neck of the woods. We gotta be better than that. Now, perhaps the greater responsibility is on the audience. I don't think it should be that way. But you do know they always say buyer beware, because at least in this country, businesses are allowed to lie their ass off to you. They are allowed to lie to get you to buy. That's the name of the game. Lie till they buy. And then once they buy, buy. Once you sign on the dotted line, it's yours. Bye, Felicia. We don't care. That's the name of the game. So even though it should be more the responsibility of the person giving you the information to have a greater sense of integrity and tell you the whole truth, all the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, it has to be, at the same time, a greater responsibility on the individual to do some digging, some research, and ask some follow-up questions, at least before you go, like I said, at least before you go making truly, totally committed, life-altering changes. Now, me, I haven't been that vulnerable. I haven't been that susceptible. I haven't been that naive. I have gone off the inspiration of. But at the same time, I was studying and planning and expecting and hoping to go before social media was a thing, or at least before the diaspora drive on social media was a thing. And so, like, I've done my travels. I've gone to different places, and I've had times and moments where I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be in America. I would rather be in A or B or C or D, whatever those were. Now, personally, if I, full disclosure, first it was Jamaica. First time I went to Jamaica, I was like, I ain't coming back to America. I don't want to. Now, life being what life is, reality being what reality is, I had to hop my butt back on that plane and come on back to America. But right off then, I started thinking and believing I can research and leave. I didn't need YouTube. I didn't need social media for that inspiration. So I didn't look to social media to verify, to validate. Now, I did do my own research. Like I said before, I started looking up, how does one move to another country? How do expats do it? How do white folk do it? Because white folk got a very well organized machine for everything that anybody ever wants to do. So yeah, I said it. The pro-black Pan-African person just said the Yorugu are quite talented in organization. Now, I'm not saying that black folk ain't. So don't come at me like that. But anyhow, like I said, so I've done my research. And it's also, that's what sort of like infuriates me, because I've done research. When I'm watching these people say stuff on YouTube or other social media platforms, because I've done the research, I therefore then get infuriated, because I'm like, why are you lying to people? Now, I got a very super small channel. That's on me. But I see people with 20,000 subscribers or more, and they just lying their ass off to all those people. So that in and of itself infuriates me. And that's what, that's what has come. These are the thoughts that have come to my head, come to my mind, while I'm out here enjoying this beautiful weather, walking the streets here in Richmond, Virginia. So like I said, this is Shabazz. You've been tuned into The Proper Perspective. And I would just like for people to be better journalists, even if you don't think that that is the responsibility. Well, if you don't think that's the responsibility of a social media influencer, then I challenge you. Now, we can duke it out in the battlefield. Tell me why you don't think it is the responsibility of the social media influencer to be a better journalist, because I think it is, and I think it should be. Now, I know they're not attributed the label, but if you are an information provider, it should behoove you to provide accurate information. And that's why I'm saying it. So, let's not try to thread the needle if you do say something. Don't thread the needle like, well, actually, they're not journalists because they didn't go to school for journalism or communications. That is not what I am talking about, and you know it. Let's not play the Carly Church game. Let's not play the Carly Church game and try to thread the needle and straw man out of an argument or an idea or a conversation or a topic. Let's not do that. So like I said, I do fervently believe that you should do your best to provide accurate information. Look some stuff up, especially now, like we've been living in the information age. So you telling me, like, if I can do a Google search and see ain't no news reporting agencies reporting on such and such, why can't you? Why can't you at least be more like Ivy Prosper? Hey guys, I don't know if this is real. I don't know if this is fact, but here's what people are saying, as opposed to all these other people. It's over. They said, no, we can't go. Guess we got to look at somewhere else. I'm not saying don't look somewhere else. I don't think you should be looking at any one particular country anyhow, especially if you haven't done groundwork yourself. Like, just because a particular country says, hey, we'll take y'all can come over here, that don't mean you should go. You need to go look it up. Just because, hey, well, guess what? Benin is now open. You don't know nothing about Benin. You don't just go. You got to do some kind of investigation. And I don't care if the social media influencer has 20,000 or 1 million followers. Just because they say, well, we can go to this country, don't mean you can go to that country. You don't know what their background is. Maybe you think you do because you're a follower on their channel. But if a person got $1 million in the bank and they say, we can go here, do you think, and you got $50 in the bank? Okay, maybe 50 is too extreme. If they got $1 million in the bank and you got $100,000 in the bank, do you think you can move as freely as them? Do you think you can go and exist or coexist in any space that they can go and exist and coexist in? Their perspective is colored by things you may not know, by things you may not even have access to knowing, by things you may not even have access to. Because ain't no $100,000 heir can move around like a millionaire. At least I hope you get the point that I'm trying to make. Now, I love the fact that there's all this conversation about the diaspora returning. And as I say, and as I always say, and as I will continue to say, I am a person of the diaspora. I am a child of the sun. I am a child of Mother Africa, and I am making my diligent efforts to move to Africa. But I'm not just going to hop on a plane and go over there thinking I can touch down and I'm going to be greeted by some committee. Oh, the long-awaited prodigal children have returned. This ain't no Bible-based fairy tale. Third world countries, and if, excuse my parlance if that's offensive, global South countries, underdeveloped countries, do not have all of the so-called infrastructural privileges that if you were born in the West, and I mean the West, I mean the global North. It's not just about Uncle Sam. Because if you come from Canada, if you come from England, if you come from Germany, there is a certain infrastructure privilege that you have, and you may be expecting when you go to any global South country. And if you go with that mindset, it don't matter whether the social media influencer that inspired you to go was telling the whole truth or the half truth. You gonna get over there and you ain't gonna be satisfied unless you know how to be flexible and make adjustments on, if you think on your feet and you can check yourself before you wreck yourself, like Das Effect said. But anyhow, I'm probably spazzing off way too much. Like I said, let's duke it out in the comments. This is Shabazz with the proper perspective. Like, share, and subscribe is the name of the game. And I hope you understand where I'm coming from. So peace out.